So, could you just state your name and also the name of your company for us?
My name is Chris Ford, and the name of my company is Lotus Tile.
Okay, great. And how long have you owned Lotus Tile?
This particular company I've owned for about a year. June 13th was my anniversary.
Oh, great. Congrats.
Been in the industry for about a decade.
Oh,
I
wow.
was with a company in California for a little while.
Oh, that's awesome. That's great to hear. So what inspired you to start doing the work that you do? And could you tell us a little bit more about the work that you do?
So I grew up, always working on little projects with my grandfather, my dad, and I loved it. Construction's what I wanted to do when I got out of high school, but no one was going to give a 90-pound little girl a job in construction. So, about 10 years ago, I met another female contractor and started helping her out and got into it. I wasn't really sure what trade specifically I wanted to do, but, I absolutely fell in love with tile. So,
Right.
I am trained as a general contractor in a lot of different trades, but I focus on tile professionally.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And what particularly drew you to the tile? Do you like the measuring and the cutting, or like what do you love about that so much?
I really like that it's an artistic trade.
Right.
I'm an artist outside of work, and so it is a very artistic trade. And it's also hard, man. There's something cool about being like, yeah, I can pick up a 90-pound bag of concrete, or
Yeah.
like it's a tough job, and it feels good to be a female in this industry and hold my own with my male counterparts.
That's so cool. What are some of the challenges that you face in a male-dominated industry?
Oh, in the very beginning with my former business partner, it was hard for us to get hired because we were women. So, we started going by like more masculine versions of our names just to get our foot in the door.
Wow, interesting.
Get into estimates. And it was similar when I moved out to Colorado and started my business. At first, because I didn't have a reputation and I was a woman, people kind of doubt you.
Yeah.
Which is really creepy. But it isn't such a problem anymore.
Oh, that's good.
And then, some of the other issues, being on bigger job sites. This happened a lot in California where I was before. Guys don't like seeing women on job sites, unfortunately. I know. And that's not, all guys. But I've had guys talk shit. People put dead animals in our tool bags. Like,
Are you serious?
yeah, like really messed up stuff. My former business partner, we'd walk in her room and these guys would bark and call us bitches. Like, it just,
wow.
Yeah, there's a lot of crap you deal with as a woman in this industry. But now with my company, I focus more on working directly for homeowners, smaller projects, and so I haven't really had those experiences in Colorado.
Well, I'm sorry you had to go through that, but that's amazing that you overcame that and that you still wanted to pursue such an industry. I mean, I had the same things. Like, I never experienced that that intensely, but I've experienced a lot of the same stuff, and I've always had renovation companies since I was a kid. I mean, much like you, I grew up into it, and like I kind of like branched off from there and went in multiple directions. But I've never that's crazy. I've never experienced it like that.
Yeah, there was a point when it was pretty bad, and I remember thinking like, well, how bad do I want this?
Right. Right.
And I wanted it, so
you kept going.
Yeah, found a way to just deal with it and work around it.
Well,
I see things changing. Like, I go to Home Depot and I see more women on crews.
Yeah.
And it's really cool. So things are changing.
Yeah, that's amazing. So so I mean, aside from what we've said, and yes, we know the reactions, but what are some of the other reactions that you get when you do like walk into a Home Depot, or people do realize that you're a female in the trade? What are some of those reactions that you experience?
Um, there's a lot of interesting stares that you get. People aren't quite used to seeing a woman in work boots and covered in all kinds of construction crap. Um, I've found that more recently, like in the last year, the reactions have been a lot more positive. I go into one of the distributors, like Floor and Decor, and homeowners will see me and I'll be standing in line, and I've had a few people be like, "Are you a contractor?" And like, yeah, and they want my card, they want my info because they're really excited about a woman doing this work.
Cool.
I'm on a job right now, and I think the daughter is like 3 or 4 years old, and she's just so excited that a girl is
Aww.
doing this work, and she was blown away, and her mom told her like, well, see, if you want to do that when you grow up, you can do that.
Oh, that's so cool.
So it's awesome to like kind of not a role model, but like young women can see that, like see that we can do this stuff, we can do anything.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you go to school at all for the trade, or were you self-taught?
I was self-taught, and then, a lot of the stuff that I learned was actually from an employee in my company in San Diego. I was a helper for many years, and we hired this guy, Eric, and that's where I really got my passion for tile,
Right.
and that's where I learned most of it. I didn't go to school. I think there's only one trade school for tile in California, and it's like 10 hours away from where I lived.
Oh, wow.
I was actually going to school for psychology. I wanted to get my PhD and I wanted to save the world, and
Oh
now
man,
I'm slinging mud.
you're saving houses one at a time. That's what I like to say. Oh, that's great. So do you think that seeing how you've lived in different areas, do you think that that's affected you positively or negatively with a move like that?
I definitely say positively. I lived in San Diego my whole life and moved out to Colorado a little over a year ago. And I mean, I think it's been great. Like, I love it. I love it here. It's a much better environment. The construction industry in Denver is just insane. Like, it is booming.
Really?
There's work, and there's so many hacks here.
Oh,
Like, I just can't believe some of the crap that I see when I go in to look at jobs.
same with us.
Yeah,
It's
it's.
so nuts. It's like, how could somebody possibly do that?
I just replaced a shower pan for this client, and it was pooling water. When I pulled all the tile up, the guy had used Durock as the shower pan, and there was
Oh
no.
God.
Well, there was a slope, but it sloped away from the drain, so there were just like puddles of water under the Durock. Like, what in the world? Like, it's just crazy.
So tell me, do you when you start a project, are you doing the removal as well, and then you do it from scratch, or how do you work?
Um, it depends on the project, but so I work alone. Occasionally, my girlfriend, she'll come and help me out when she has days off. After my experience in California, we had like 15 employees. I said I'm never gonna have another employee. Um, but so I'll go in, I do the demo. Um, I am trying to get away from doing demos. I'm finding my body's breaking down as I'm
Yeah,
getting older, and it's hard. It's hard on the body.
it certainly
Um,
is. I had to
so
stop
yeah,
demos too.
I yeah. So yeah, I'll go in, do the demo, help with design,
Oh, cool.
all the way through.
So you're a
Router,
full
tiling.
service then.
Yeah.
That's great. So do you price per job or do you price per square foot?
I price per job. I found that there's just different factors that price per square foot
Yeah,
is either going to end up being unfair to me or unfair to the client.
right.
Um, so I try to, look at the job. I either go and meet with the clients or I have them email me pictures. Um, and then I price it off of that.
Super cool. Um, what are your as a self-employed woman? What are your general working hours?
Um, for job sites, I try to be there between 8 and 4. A 8-hour day.
Yeah.
If I get lucky, it's shorter.
Yeah.
And then, the evenings are another 2 or 3 hours of picking up materials for the next day, going home and doing office work and getting back to clients.
Yeah.
So probably about a 10 to 12 hour day typically.
Oh, that's a lot, but I mean, it never shuts off for it, does it? For us, does it, right? Like you're constantly going. So when you're on site and stuff, and let's say there's another tradesperson in there, do you find that like you have like maybe you feel a little intimidated by them, or do you feel like I don't care because I know my job, and like how do you feel around other male contractors or other women in the trade?
Other women, I get really excited. Like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Guy, I mean, I don't really feel intimidated. I know what I'm doing, and I know that I'm good at what I do.
Yeah.
And there's everyone has to tell you a story about how they did a tile job one time.
Oh, yeah, the old. Oh, I did trades in my day. Yeah.
Like, an electrician has to tell me about how he did a couple tile jobs. I'm like, okay.
Oh, it's hilarious.
Because they usually don't know what they're talking about, and especially here in Colorado, because learning tile in California, the standards and the codes are so strict that there's a much higher standard that's expected. And that just isn't here. So when guys on sites here have tried to tell me or ask me oh, why are you doing it that way? And because that's how you do it. I had a GP here. He insisted on me using Dent Shield, and then I was waterproofing it. I was putting a membrane on it. And he's like, oh, what are you doing that for? Dent Shield's waterproof. And I was like, no, it's not.
Oh, Jesus.
But he's trying to tell me how to do my job. And I was like, why did you hire me?
Yeah, exactly. You should have just done it yourself.
Yeah. So, no, I don't really feel intimidated. I just kind of laugh.
Yeah.
A lot of smiling and nodding.
Yeah. You're like, mm-hmm. I know, I still to this day, I'll go on sites and I have we have these, we'll have an underpinning crew in or something, and they're like, hey, why don't you do this? Or, next time you should maybe use, oh my God, you should use paper beads instead of metal beads. It's like, no, dude, we've been doing this for 17 years. I'm used to what I know. I know how to do it so that there's no problems later. And it's they always have something to say, right?
Mm-hmm. Always have something to say.
Yeah.
I think some of them feel a little emasculated, especially when they're in a lighter trade, like painting or electrical.
Yeah.
They see a woman covered in concrete and sling tiles, and so I think they feel a little oh. Especially, I'm not that big. I'm only 5'4".
Yeah. So, I'm shorter than you. I'm 5'1".
Oh, shit.
So when I walk on site, my inspector right now on this big job we're doing on Iona, which is down the street from our shop, every time he comes to do the inspection, I'm like, okay, so you want us to do, and he's looking down at me, and I'm just like, God damn, I wish I got a few more inches out of my my parents or whatever, but it's yeah, I mean, what can you do? But we pack a strong punch, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Okay, I think that's it. I just have a couple, two more questions. So, who are your major influences? If you could pick a couple of, the big dogs, kind of, so to speak, who would be your main influences in terms of that?
Oh, man. There's a couple guys on Instagram that I follow.
Yeah.
And I can't think of their exact handles. One of them is tier 1 something. His work is beautiful. He does a lot of instructional stuff.
Cool.
And this guy that worked for me in California, Eric, it's cool that he's not my employee anymore. Like, we're peers.
Yep.
And we started talking again recently, and his work is just unbelievable. Like, I feel like an absolute hack compared to him.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I know. Some guys are, it's, you know what? In this industry, you're constantly learning. No matter how much you know, there's always more to learn. And, some people will think they know more than you, and in their right, they may. But there's always something to learn, even those big guys. I follow quite a few of the bigger leads, like First Choice Tiling and, those guys.
They're awesome.
New Look Tile and Stone, like those guys they're awesome. Like they're amazing. And they're so great. They're so like, they're always like, go you guys or whatever. And they're so supportive of females in the trade. First Choice Tiling especially. He always messages me and he's always like, hey girl, like, this is awesome. But I mean, so just quickly before we let you go, what are some of the like what's the differences that you experienced having multiple employees versus working on your own? What are some of the feels you get out of that?
I sometimes it is nice to have help, have helpers that can do the demo for you,
Yep.
or run bags of thin set. I have found that I definitely prefer to work alone. When my company in California, when we were at our largest, I wasn't setting tile anymore. I was sitting in the office building files so we could fire people.
Oh, we lost her.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Um,
So you were stacking files.
yeah, I wasn't doing tile anymore, and that's one of the reasons that I got out of school and working in offices is because I didn't want to do that shit anymore.
Yeah, totally.
And I mean, I joked all the time about how I was going to put on my business card, like, I'm not a co-owner, I'm a fucking babysitter. Like, all day long as I'm checking on sites and, like, yelling at guys, and it just was frustrating. So, I mean, I think it was definitely more challenging to have employees.
Yeah.
I'd rather deal with the stuff I deal with working alone. Like, I joke with my friends all the time when they're like, oh, we want to come help you out. I'm like, man, I don't really play well with others.
Doesn't work well with others. You should get that on a bumper sticker. Yeah, you know what? It's so funny because at our staff meeting this morning, I was literally just saying that. I said, I'm stuck, like, back here doing paperwork, and like I laid a subfloor last Friday and I haven't felt that good in so long, and it's like it's exhausting. It's exhausting, like watching everyone and making sure all the sites go well. Like if clients only knew how much work goes into their project, they would never complain about how much something costs ever again.
Oh, I know. I mean, all the stuff on the back end that you're dealing with, and the amount of money, like that company, the first year we expanded and we had all those employees, we paid over $100,000 in workers' comp insurance alone. And that's not like all the other stuff. And my business partner and I took home like $30,000 that year each. I'm like, this is bullshit. Like,
so do you think it's more profitable or lucrative for you to work alone than it is to have a big company like that?
Depending on how the company is managed,
right.
I didn't have a ton of control over my last company, and I don't think it was profitable. I was the one doing the profit and loss and all the back end stuff, and I was looking at what we were making, and we weren't making anything.
That's a big weight to carry, doing all your own profit and loss and stuff like that. Wow.
Yeah, and there were times that, like, my business partner and I, we wouldn't take a paycheck because we had to make sure that our guys got paid. So we'd, like, make a note, okay, well, the company owes me a check for this, and, the guys don't know that, and so they don't care, or they don't appreciate it. It's like, dude, I'm, like, eating top ramen this week so that you can feed your kids.
Wow.
So, like, not having that pressure I like it a lot more. I definitely prefer working alone. I because right now I'm staying consistently booked out about 2 months, and so I'm losing out on work because people don't want to wait that long. So I would love to find like another good setter here in Denver that I could trust with my reputation and just send work their way. Not really an employee, like, more of a sub.
Or like to pass off the buck kind of thing. Yeah, well, it's so interesting to hear, like, because we've been interviewing a few people, and it's so cool to listen to people's stories and what trials and tribulations that others go through, because I've been through it all too, right? Like I feel the same way. I miss being on site. I miss, like, the whole reason I got into this industry was so I could show how great I was. That sounds so bad, but how great I was at like, my favorite thing to do is tiling and any type of concrete work.
Yeah.
So I haven't poured a bag of cement in, I don't even know, 3 years, 4 years.
Oh, I'd go crazy.
I do go crazy, but it's like I go in here and a little bit here and there, and then we're in the middle of changing our business model over, which is hard, but it's so I can get on site a little more, because you know what, as the boss, and I'm sure you know this, it's so difficult to focus on everything when you're sitting behind a desk and a phone, and you can't see the kind of work that's going in, and you got to ensure that whether you put in, like you said, the backer board there without any waterproofing, like, you got to make sure that happens, right? How can you do that from sitting back here,
Yeah.
So I can't wait to get on site again. But what would you tell young women looking to get into the trade?
You need to be prepared to put up with some bullshit.
Yeah.
And you need to really want it. But find a place that you fit in. Like, I realized for me, working on really big job sites, like new builds and things like that, that doesn't work for me.
Right.
Find your niche, find where you fit in, and don't take any shit. Like,
awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, listen, we know that how important your time is, and we appreciate you talking with us today so much, and we love what you're doing, and we follow you, and we'll continue to follow you and watch you on your journey. And thank you so much for being here.
2 more questions if you want to elaborate.
Oh, hey, hold on one second. Yeah.
The one about using masculine versions of her name. Does she have a story about that? How that went?
Oh, we have a question from the peanut gallery. When you said that you changed your name to be a little more masculine, do you have any backstory on that?
Oh, well, so my government name is Kristen.
Right.
But I just started going by Chris. It was easier, to get a foot in the door. It also gives a little bit of anonymity.
Right.
I don't mix too much of my personal life with my work life.
Totally.
So, most of my clients don't know. Well, that's a lie. My clients know, but like I said before, it's not such an issue now, but I just go by Chris.
Yeah, cool. All right, well, that's it, my dear. Thank you so much again, and we'll let you know when we're gonna start releasing the episode, and hopefully you can tag us on your Instagram or whatever and tell people, encourage them to go watch it on YouTube.
Cool. Well, thank you so much.
My pleasure. Well, keep doing what you're doing.
All right, you too, man.
All right, we'll talk soon.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.